Kids TV!
There was once a miller who had 3 sons and owned nothing but a mill, an old donkey, and a ginger cat. When the miller died, his property was easily divided. The eldest son took the mill, the second son took the donkey, and so there was nothing left for the youngest son but the cat. The poor young fellow was desperately unhappy and inconsolable, for he had received what seemed like the worst lot.
Oh, what am I to do? My brothers can take care of themselves with their mill and their donkey. But even if I were to kill the cat and eat him and sell his skin for a loaf of bread, how long would that keep me alive?
My dear master, if you give me a strong sack and a pair of boots, such a gentleman when they go shooting, I will not only show you things that you've never seen, but I shall be much more useful to you alive than dead.
Who knows what this cat is capable of? Well, I don't have anything to lose.
Can a cat do more? But my lord, what do you mean? Can a cat do more? More than you have ever seen. Cats, they love to sit and purr, or meow and lick their fur. Those cats are very smart. My, they're a set apart. Can a cat do more? Yes, he sure can do a lot. A cat will care for you. He'll protect you like a shot. If you're poor, trust in him. He will meet your every whim. Here's a cat who can talk. He can even do the walk.
And so, with his last pennies, he bought the cat what he had asked for. When the cat received his boots, he slipped them elegantly on, slinging his sack over his shoulder and holding the string with his paws. He marched bravely to a rabbit warren. He filled his sack with bran and lettuce and left the mouth of the sack open. Then he lay down, shut his eyes, and did as though he was sound asleep. Soon a young rabbit smelt the lettuce and saw the open bag. Ignorant of the wickedness and deceit of the world, he jumped headfirst straight into the bag, and at once the cat drew the strings closed and held the rabbit captive. Proud of his prey, Puss marched directly up to the palace.
I would like to see the king. I have a gift for him.
The guard escorted him upstairs into the king's great hall, and there he saw the king himself with his crown on his head.
Sire, here I hold a magnificent rabbit, which my master asked me to bring to you.
And who is your master?
He is the Marquis of Carabas.
Tell your master that I accept his gift.
A few days later, the cat went hunting again.
This time I will catch partridges. This should please the king.
So he hid with his bag in a cornfield and prepared the bait, and not a moment passed, and he had caught 2 fat partridges.
Ha! Luck is on my side. I'm off to see the king with another present for the Marquis of Carabas.
When he presented the partridges to the king with a similar message as before, His Majesty was so pleased that he awarded the cat a generous meal. While enjoying his reward, the faithful animal raved in the most cunning way about the large fields and abundant game which belonged to his lord, the Marquis of Carabas. This ruse went on for quite some time. Every week Puss brought the king some more game, and the king began to think that the Marquis of Carabas was indeed a very skillful hunter. One day, Puss heard that the king and his daughter, the beautiful princess, were going to drive along the road by the river, and he ran to warn his master.
The time has come for me to tell you a secret, master.
Tell it then.
Well, you must know that all the land on both sides of the river belongs to you.
Huh? How is that?
Years and years ago, your great-grandfather owned that land, and it ought to have gone to your grandfather, who was his third son, and then to your father, who was also his third son, and then to you. But a wicked ogre who lives in a great castle beyond the forest cheated your grandfather and took the land for himself. If you had your rights to the land, you would be known as the Marquis of Carabas today. For that was the title which your great-great-grandfather had.
But how am I to get my rights back? If I were to try to claim back the lands which you tell me about, everybody would laugh at me.
Do as I say, and you will become the luckiest man in the world. All you need to do is go and bathe in a place at the river, which I shall show you, and leave the rest up to me.
So, about noon, the young lad walked down to the river and went in to bathe. While he was in the water, the king and the pretty princess came driving by. The cat noticed them and began to run up and down the bank.
My Lord Marquis of Carabas is drowning! Please save him!
Hearing the shouting, the king put his head out of the carriage window. There he saw the cat that had brought him so much game, and he ordered his men to run and save the Marquis from drowning. The king and his daughter ran to the bridge and Puss followed them. He made a low bow and told a long and pitiful tale.
While my master was bathing, some thieves came and stole all of his clothing.
Thieves robbed your master?
Yes, and I chased them and cried thief to stop them, but they got away. Then my master lost his footing and was pulled in by the strong water current and would have drowned had you not come to his rescue.
The cat was not only a great hunter, but also a great actor. He had hidden the clothes under a rock, and his story was so convincing that the king was really worried.
Officers, ride back to the castle and bring back the most elegant clothes for the young gentleman.
So at last, when the miller's son was dressed, wearing finer clothes than he had ever worn, he truly resembled a marquis. He offered his thanks to his majesty. The king accepted his thanks courteously, and the princess was smitten at once. Indeed, he seemed so charming to her that she begged her father to invite him into the carriage, which the young man did not refuse. The Marquis and the Princess exchanged a few timid glances and had soon fallen in love. The cat was overjoyed to see that his project had begun to succeed.
There isn't a moment to lose.
Good people! The king will be passing shortly. And if you do not say that the field you are mowing belongs to my lord, the Marquis of Carabas, you shall all be reduced to mincemeat.
Who owns this meadow, my good fellows?
The Marquis of Carabas.
You have very fine land, Marquis.
Yes, indeed, sire. The yearly harvest is always abundant.
Meanwhile, the cat, who was still running on before, came to a wheat field where reapers were at work. Good reapers, let me tell you something. The king is coming this way in his carriage. When he sees you, he is likely to ask you whose grain this is. Now, you will save yourselves a great deal of trouble if you answer that it belongs to the Marquis of Carabas. The reapers looked at one another and shook their heads.
Maybe he's right. In any case, we have nothing to lose by taking his advice. Look! There comes the king now!
To whom does all this wheat belong?
The fields we are reaping belong to the Marquis of Carabas. They drove on, and the cat kept on running before them, saying the same thing to everybody he met, that they were declared that the whole land belonged to his master. After a while, they passed through a dark forest and saw a fine castle on the top of a hill, which belonged to the ogre. He was a cruel tyrant, and his servants were terribly afraid of him, which was the reason why they were ready to say whatever they were told to say by the cat. People said that he owned all the land on both sides of the river for miles and miles. But how had he got it, and by what right he held on to it, nobody could tell. He was also a magician, and could transform himself into any creature that he wished. So, putting on the boldest face he could assume, Puss marched up to the castle and asked to see its owner, saying that he was travelling, but did not wish to pass so near a castle of such a noble gentleman without paying his respects.
Meow. Thank you for receiving me. Sir, but may I ask you first, to satisfy my traveler's curiosity? I heard in far-off lands of your remarkable powers, and especially how you have the ability to change yourself into any sort of beast you may choose. Into a lion, for instance, or even an elephant.
This is true. Do you have any doubts? Look, and you shall see me turn into a lion.
That was dreadful! But sir, whilst it may be easy enough for such a majestic gentleman as you are to change himself into a large animal, I do not suppose you can become a small one, such as a rat or a mouse. Some claim that you can. Still, for my part, I consider it quite impossible.
Impossible? Cat, be careful what you say. I despise your lack of faith. If you do not believe, then you shall see for yourself.
And in one instant, the ogre had become a mouse that ran about the floor. This was exactly what Puss had wanted, and with his natural feline grace, he sprang upon the mouse and gave it one deadly shake. And this spelt the end of the ogre. Puss, who heard the creaking of the carriage wheels on the drawbridge, ran forward in a great hurry and stood at the gate.
Welcome, sire, to the castle of my lord, the Marquis of Carabas.
What? Does the castle also belong to you? Marquis. Truly, Marquis, you have kept your secret from me very well to the last minute. I have never seen anything finer than this courtyard and all the stately buildings which surround it.
I should really like to enter.
Your Majesty is welcome.
The Marquis gave his hand to the princess and followed the king. They walked into a spacious venue where they found a magnificent dinner, which the ogre had prepared for his friends, who were to visit him that very day, but dared not enter, knowing the king was there. They sat down at the feast, and the king and the princess were amazed by all that they saw. Everything was served in good style, and Puss in Boots made sure that everything went smoothly.
You only have to say the word, my lord Marquis, and you shall become the son-in-law of your king.
Princess, will you agree to become my wife?
Hence, that very same day, they married and lived a simple and happy life. This is how a poor miller's son, who received nothing more than a cat, became a prince. And Puss? He became a great lord, who hunted mice for mere sport.
Can a cat do more? But my lord, what do you mean? Can a cat do more? More than you have ever seen. Cats, they love to sit and purr, or meow and lick their fur. Those cats are very smart. My, they're a set apart. Can a cat do more? Yes, he sure can do a lot. A cat will care for you. He'll protect you like a shot. If you're poor, trust in him. He will meet your every whim. Here's a cat who can talk. He can even do the walk. Can a cat do more? But my lord, what do you mean? Can a cat do more? More than you have ever seen. Puss in Boots, the talking cat, he's got all the chit and chat. Anything you ask him for, Mr. Cat can give you more. Can a cat do more? He can bring wishes to life, make your dreams come true, and find you a lovely wife. Give your cat the warmest cot, hug him tight just as you ought. Pat him when he's sound asleep, he'll return your love so deep.